Hey, welcome into the latest Crunch Time with Chris podcast. He's my guest, Mount Vernon's head coach, Tom Cox. Coach, thanks for being in with me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Check it out. So we are brought to you today by Frank's Red Hots. Frank's actually, he stopped by recently. Go to franksredhots.com. How hot do you want it? Just kidding. We don't actually have a sponsor. I like to make one up.
That's good.
I hope the sales folks are listening. I don't know if they watch, but yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we got a hot matchup coming up here. We're going to get into when you take on Castle again in a rematch. But I want to start, Coach. I want to just talk about your history in coaching. I mean, from 1981 to 1986, you were head coach at Mount Vernon.
Yes.
And then you had several assistant jobs in between that job and when you came back, right?
I left Mount Vernon in '86, went to Webb City as the head coach over there.
Yeah.
And loved it at Webb. And we played a lot of sophomores that year. We were 6-4. And then Ozark had tried to get me, believe it or not, to not take the Webb job because the Ozark job was going to open up the next year. Paul Skeens had been the head coach. He'd been promoted to assistant superintendent. So he had a son that was a senior quarterback, and they were going to let him coach one more year, and then he was going to have to step down to go into administration. So they called me at the end of in the spring of that year I was at Webb, and said that they offered me the job. And I said, no, I can't. Just been at Webb 1 year, but I appreciate it. Well, then they ended up calling me back a second time and said, well, here's what we can do. I'm like, man, I appreciate it, but I can't do it. And then third time they called me and said, we can do this. And I said, well, where do I sign? And so they made it to where I just, had a very young family, and our son was not born yet. Our daughter had been born, and so we moved to Ozark and stayed there for 3 years. And I tell you, Chris, I had gotten to the point where I was getting consumed by football.
Oh, yeah.
I had, it was like 365 days a year, full days, and just kind of neglecting really some stuff that I shouldn't have been. And so had an opportunity to go back to Mount Vernon, which is the first place Cindy and I lived together, and got married on a Saturday. On the Thursday before that, they offered me a job over there, and offered me the junior high football job, junior high basketball job, junior high track job.
Okay.
And so Cindy had another year left at Missouri Southern to finish up, and so I had taught the year before at Kennedy High School in St. Louis, which is a Catholic school that I attended actually. And so we decided, we'll take the Mount Vernon job. Well, we had booked a trip to the Bahamas for our honeymoon, but we had to leave the Saturday after we got married. We couldn't take the flight, So we drove to St. Louis, my mom and dad's house. My mom had driven to California with my sister who lived out there, and my dad, Cindy and myself spent our first week together in the house there in St. Louis, actually Baldwin, West County out there. And I got a phone call from the school, and it was the high school principal, and he said that he offered me a job in the high school as a biology teacher. It was my minor. And so it was a high school coaching job, high school teaching job, and so I took that without ever meeting the principal in person and stuff, but I got a good recommendation from the middle school principal, and so I took that, and I was an assistant at Mount Vernon for 2 years before I got the head job there, and I was the head coach there for 6 years before moving on. Well, then after I decided to get out from Ozark, and went back to Mount Vernon and opened the American Family Insurance Agency, took over one that was there, and I actually did that for almost 23 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so, but during that time, I did the radio for the Mount Vernon games for 6 years, and I only coached Mighty Might stuff and things like that there in town, in baseball and basketball. My son was young, but he was old enough to play. And so we got a new head coach, Dan Henderson. And Dan asked me if I would coach junior high football for him. And I said, no way, I do not want to be a junior high coach. And he said, man, he kept begging me, he kept calling me back. And he said, just 1 year, just give me 1 year. And I won't bug you anymore till I can get somebody in there. Well, 15 years later, I'm still coaching junior high at Mount Vernon and working the games with them. I was in the press box on Friday nights. And so I did that, and Dan left, and we got another coach in there, and then they left, and we got another one in there. And,
yeah.
So it turned out that Coach Ozzie Riley, who he came in and took the job. He was there for 2 years, and he asked me to move up to the varsity. And it was funny because I said, no, I really don't want to go up. I mean, I didn't want to be a junior high coach, but I absolutely loved it down there.
Yeah.
Those kids, I realize now as a head coach how important that junior high staff is, and they can make all the difference in the world in terms of just really loving and caring about kids and just teaching them the game and not worrying so much about winning and stuff, but just kind of winning them. And so anyway, I moved up. He asked me, to move up, so I did that for 2 years, and then he left, and he went to Springfield Catholic with Steve Hancock. And so Mount Vernon asked me if I'd be interested in applying for the job, and so I said I had retired from American Family, so I was just watching TV in the morning and coaching football in the afternoon. And then, Tony Armstrong was the head basketball coach at Springfield Catholic, and he called me up and said, hey, I need a 7th grade boys basketball coach. So I drove to Springfield every day to coach junior high basketball. Wow. And then in the spring, I was the assistant baseball coach at Mount Vernon. So, I thought, here I am doing all this. I might as well apply for that job. So sure enough, I got it. And now this is my 12th year back full-time teaching. And I have 5 strength and conditioning classes.
Yeah.
And then I coach, of course, varsity football, and then I'm the head boys tennis coach in the spring.
Yeah.
So sorry to take you through the long
that's
of it.
That's an incredible journey. Doing this video cast here, I've really enjoyed hearing about the different stops. You said you watched the Steve Airy one we did.
Yes.
I had Coach Swafford in here last week, and Coach Wells before that.
Yeah.
Aaron Hafner. We had a huge list of guys who have been different places, and it's always fun to hear kind of what makes this area special. Mount Vernon's obviously very special to you.
It is.
How would you put that into words?
Well, like I said, that was the first place Cindy and I lived when we got married, and we spent our first night together in the Howard Johnson's, which is the Oasis now in Springfield, and the second night at the Ranch Motel in Mount Vernon, Missouri. So I'm pretty last of the big spenders, I think. But anyway, it was great. Mount Vernon was a tough place to break into because they had won the state championship in 1978. And all the coaches left. They either got promoted to administration or they moved to other places and better jobs or whatever that they felt like. And so we got a new head coach in there, and I was an assistant, and then another guy. None of us had ever met each other, and the 3 of us that was the varsity staff there in Mount Vernon. And so that first year we went 7-3, and we tied for the conference lead. And then the second year we went 0-10.
Oh, wow.
And they let the head coach go, and I was planning on going to Joplin to Parkwood High School. They were really a strong program at that time, and I'd been offered the defensive back job there because I'd played at Missouri Southern and played secondary there, and so that's where I thought we were going. And then, but I applied for the Mount Vernon job, and it came down to myself and another guy, and somebody changed their vote somewhere, and so I ended up getting the job. And, that was exciting, but it's pretty scary. I think I was 26 years old, and we went 3-6 that first year, and we lost 2 in a row in overtime.
Oh, wow.
But it was great, and I really loved Mount Vernon. That second year, we had a good team there, and we went to the state championship, and we lost to St. Genevieve Valley. Well, what's crazy about that is that at all those other stops I told you in those years that went by, 35 years and 1 day later, we played for the state championship again.
Yeah.
At Mount Vernon. So it was like 1982, 2017 here, and
yeah,
it was cool because a lot of those kids that I had on that first state team had children that were playing for me in that second one. So it was cool. Mount Vernon's been very good to me, but tried to just be good back to them.
Yeah, well, we have this, Coach, you were here when I had to try to figure out how to work this board. Our board went down. So I'm going to throw some video up of some of the games here. We'll start with, let's go with some postseason play last year. Obviously, you guys, oops, that's our preview. There we go, watch this.
Yeah.
Let's see if that works. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So, Coach, I think because last year you guys had a nice deep run in the postseason. And then this year you come out and you had the 3 losses right away. What did you guys do to turn it around and play so hot toward down the stretch here, winning? I have the exact number here. Several games. What was this?
We won 6 of our last 7.
6 of 7. That's right. And it was your opponent who did 6 straight. So you both are on hot streaks here. You and Cashville.
Yes.
But what did you turn around here?
Well, I think we didn't panic, number one. I think that was one of the keys for the players as well. When we first started, we only had like 5 players that had played really many meaningful snaps in 2024 in that season. So we had a bunch of young guys, and then we thought, a good core of guys returning. And so we didn't panic. We just said, let's hang in there. We played a bunch of kids in those first 3 games, and who knows, maybe we played too many. But we were trying to get a bunch of guys ready to, take on the gauntlet that was coming up. And we just, our kind of motto was stay the course.
Yeah.
We felt like we had a good plan. We've always kind of followed that plan, whether it was, summer, the weight program. We evaluated everything, believe me. But we decided to just, keep coaching hard and just not get down on the guys and just, give them confidence. And that's really what's kind of happened there. We lost those first 3, and we lost a couple of them pretty soundly. Seneca thumped us pretty good. And McDonald County really, I thought, played well. Their quarterback is really a nice player. We had trouble getting him on the ground. Yeah. But we came out of that, and we played, I think, East Newton in there, and we played well, and we got a victory there. And then we just kind of put things together. We lost to Cassville 39-28. And so it's been, I think, just not that we really made anything drastic. One of the things is we started throwing the ball to Coy Felton, our wide receiver.
He's in like all of our highlights we've noticed.
Yeah, yes. He's had an incredible year, really 2 years there, where last year I think he had like 57 catches and had, maybe 800, almost 900 yards. But this year he's had 65 catches and he's got like 1,044 yards and 16 touchdowns. So he's really been good. Teams have had trouble stopping him. He's about as good a 50-50 ball guy that you're going to see. I mean, he goes up and gets it. He's got incredible timing, good vertical, and just he's the kind of guy who reminds me a little bit of like Chad Johnson or Randy Moss, where he thinks he should get the ball every time.
Oh yeah,
and
that's good.
If we throw it to him every time, he truly believes he's going to make every catch. That's one reason that he's excelled that he has. So teams now are starting to double team him. And the other night we had 3 guys on him at one time. So he's going to have to step up, and we're going to have to get some other guys to do some things as we play Cassville and hopefully beyond.
Yeah, and it's funny, Coach. I want to show you something here too. So we had a question from our web editor, Chris Parker. He wanted me to ask you about something because he was at your game last week.
Okay.
When you guys won in the first round, and he noticed something. He said, "I want you to ask Coach Cox if he's still going to keep doing this and how much longer." And that is you running in front of. Look at this. Okay, so you're running in front of your team. That is like Lion King type stuff where you got to watch out for the herd coming.
I do.
And Coach, I'm not going to ask you your age, but I do know that, you've been doing this a long time. And I know you could probably still take a hit, but that's, to me, I would be freaked out. And I want to know, is this going to you just keep doing it? No big deal, huh?
No big deal. I chest bump all of them that want a chest bump.
That's great.
And that's the one I kind of worry about because 2 years ago, tore the meniscus in my left knee,
really?
And I coached the whole season on a big brace. I asked him if they could wait to do surgery until after the season. He said, "Sure, we can do that." But so anyway, it's like after this, I just told you I tore my rotator cuff in the spring and had surgery, and I just got to be careful.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know. It's been great. I've enjoyed the kids, and I think that's why we all do it.
Yeah, and we're watching some video here from your postseason run last year. You guys had just a special group of record-setting players on that team, and I bet you that was hard to replace this year, huh?
Oh, it is. We just honored Gavin Johnston, our quarterback, and Braden Godson that you see there for breaking, all the school records, and not all of them, but just so many in passing and rushing and touchdowns scored and touchdowns thrown, and really, really fun guys to be around, and that's Coy right there that we've been talking about. He's pretty special right now.
Yeah, and I bet you it's one of those things too where you're not trying to rebuild, you're trying to reload, and maybe those first few weeks there's a little bit of reloading going on. Yeah. And we've always noticed, I've noticed that your teams get better typically throughout the year as you figure out what you want to do, and that certainly happened this year.
It has. Hunter Dawson is our quarterback this year. He is like 6'5" and 210.
Massive.
But he looks really good in the uniform too. But he played behind Gavin Johnston last year as our quarterback. But he started at our tight end, and we played him in the slot out there last year. He had a great year catching the ball and on defense. And so he didn't see, like I said, many meaningful snaps at quarterback last year. And so it's taken us a little bit for him to get there. You can see him here, and he's got a cannon of an arm. He threw a ball against Parkview. We looked at it on here. He threw it going to his left, 57 yards in the air.
Yeah.
Coy caught it in the end zone. And so he's got a big arm, and it's one that we're trying to take advantage of now. And then our tailback is Hunter Conway. So we got 2 Hunters in the backfield. And he made first team all conference in Big 8, and that's quite a feat right there. But so we've got some tools. We've got to get our offensive line is doing a good job, but they need to be a little more consistent. And defensively, we kind of figured some things out. Coach Chris Johnston is our defensive coordinator. He's a high school graduate at Mount Vernon, a really good quarterback that played there, and he and his staff, Jeff Piepenbrink and Jeremy Brown, did a really good job, I thought, this last half of the season on defense. And Logan Allenbaugh and Kelly Beckner are the offensive coaches that work with me on the offensive side. And so we just, like I said, we just kind of stayed the course. We've tried to make a few adjustments, moved guys a little bit here or there, maybe a better position for them. And I think that's all it takes, is just don't panic and just stay the course.
And this is an Aurora team, obviously you beat last week in the first round, that you had lost to at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
What were the things when you were looking at that film that made you say, wow, we are a very different team this time around?
Well, I got pretty mad looking at the film again.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we just like that right there. We had trouble. Our tackling wasn't very good. We had trouble keeping them out of the end zone on. Our Sean Creasy, a great player. That quarterback is very mobile. When we got him, he did a great job. He's so strong. You can look at those legs. He weighs 220, and he just dumped it out of bounds. So lived to play again, and they scored with 15 seconds to play to beat us. And that was a bitter pill when Mount Vernon and Aurora get together in the Bell Bowl. But it's fun. It's fun. It's not as crazy as it used to be.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have a big bell. That's why they call it the Bell Bowl. That we roll out for every game. We bang it when we score a touchdown or whatever. But that thing over the years has ended up in Spring River. Aurora would steal it and put it throw it in the river, and it's been in hibernation somewhere. Somebody finally found it and brought it back. So, but it's been pretty fun, a good rivalry. I think it's the second oldest rivalry in the state of Missouri.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Write that one down. Okay. So you've got Cassville coming up, another team that you have previously lost to. I did a little digging. Did you know you're 4-1 in these situations since 2016, where you play a team that beat you as?
Oh really?
You're 4-1 in the postseason when you play a team that beat you. Then the one was last year, obviously Seneca. That's
right.
what you get when you have guys going for major hardware like they did last year. But obviously they get to the state championship like that. That's going to be. They do that to everybody. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you do. I was looking back at just your playoff record and who you had played against, and if you had lost to that team earlier. And so that's something that you've done a great job, making those adjustments afterwards. And you've got a Cassville team. You're hoping to go 5-1 in that situation.
Definitely. The thing that I try to do is look at their defense and what they do, and they have historically played just great defense down there. They're very physical. They do a great job in the weight room. And, you look at that progression. When I came on the scene, David Large was the head coach. Then you had let's see, I'm trying to think if there's somebody in there before Lance Parnell. And then you have now Clay Weldy. And all three of them have kind of carried on the same tradition and the same offense. They've tweaked that a little bit, opened things up. They throw it really well now. They've got a great receiver. Made first team all-conference as a defensive back and as a wide receiver. And so defensively, they historically play like a four-man front with three linebackers, and they'll play a lot of cover 4 or cover 2, and they'll run some man. But so they just are so disciplined and well coached that they just don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn it over, and they don't have a lot of penalties. And so it just puts pressure on the opponent to not get penalized. It gets so hard to overcome a holding penalty. Or even a false start is 5 yards that you just don't get from them back very easily. So it'll be a good challenge for us, but we've had some great games with them over the year. I really like playing them. I love playing in the Big 8 because if you win a game in the Big 8, you've done something well. And so we just try to. I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is to not worry so much about how somebody else coaches their team or what they do, is just to focus more on ourselves and what we do and do what we do well. And we are so much better when people don't know whether we're going to run it or we're going to throw it. Where we've struggled, we don't have a ton of big guys. We've got a couple this year, but when we are forced to run the football, get that 4th and 1, or 3rd and 2, you need to get where everybody in the stadium knows you need to run it. We have not really excelled at that, but we excel at a lot of other stuff. We I think throw it well. And our ratio of run to pass, surprisingly, is almost equal. The yardage and stuff is not always as equal, but our rushing attempts and our passing attempts are always in that 50, 40 something range, and it needs to stay that way for us to be successful.
You know, I was thinking about when I was preparing for this interview, okay, they've won 6 straight games to end their season. You've won 6 of 7. And truthfully, you know, you both have even taken turns beating Lamar, the state champs, in the last 2 years. And so that proves that you guys can play with anybody. And do you look at that team, that Castle squad, and kind of see a lot of similarities to your own squad?
Yeah, I see similarities there, not necessarily in the offense or you know, definitely the defense. We certainly like to play good, hard-nosed defense, and that's what they do. And I think that's one place where we've gotten so much better from, like what you talked about, those first 3 games. We weren't as physical as we needed to be. There's never a question about Cassville or Seneca with physicality. And so we've got to not only match that, but we need to exceed that. And so that's where our guys need to really, really step up and just keep that consistently, you know, where, but I do see similarities there. I think both coaches, I think, are, you know, just Clay's a great guy as well as being a great coach.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have all the experience that some guys have. You know, he's relatively new. And, you know, here I am, relatively old. I'm beyond relatively old.
Yes.
But no, people ask me about, you know, how many more years I've got.
I was going to ask, yeah.
That's come up a lot this year. I don't know if that's because they want me to retire or if they just are curious about it. But right now, I don't have any plans to get out. But, you know, things could change here in the next few weeks. Who knows? I'm not sure what I would do if I wasn't working. I get to school at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, and whether that's 7 days a week, and I just try to do the best I can with what the team that we've been blessed with, and I like our team this year a lot. Even when we were getting beat, we like I said, we just tried to stay patient and keep coaching, and I like our coaching staff as well. They're good guys. We're not you know, we're not cussers, or, you know, we don't do any of that stuff. But we coach hard. There's no question about that. We get after them pretty good sometimes. I told him today, I said I got after him I said I kind of get after you on Monday, you know, and sometimes on Tuesday, and maybe on Wednesday, and then Thursday. You know, they're like, every day, coach. But anyway, we're trying to do a good job over there.
Yeah, you guys have been so much fun to watch, and you know, we always have a tough time trying to figure out if, you know, we know you guys can beat anybody, and, you know, like any other team, you had the growing pains early, and that wasn't indicative of who you guys were going to beat. And not all teams are that way, but your programs tend to be that way. Looking back at the history here, is that something you take a big pride in?
I think so. I do take pride in that. I wish we would just go from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we do, but we lost some tough games last year. I thought we had a really nice team, but we just sometimes we just made a mistake here or there that cost us dearly. You know, there were some very close games. This is Mountain
Mountain Grove last year in the postseason. Yep.
They've got a nice team, I think. I didn't know, because it was weird, because last year, you know, we were in a totally different district. We've always been in District 6, Class 3. Yeah. And all out of the blue, we open up the Misha site, and we're in Class 5. But what's funny about that is that we played Stratford, and we played Buffalo, and we played Mountain Grove in the playoffs. But we could have played like St. James. We could have played Cuba. We could have played Salem. We could have played, you know, I mean, it was crazy. And I went and looked back, kind of like you did. Mount Vernon had never played a single one of those teams in the history of the school. And so we, but it was good. We won the district and played Seneca in the quarterfinals. And of course, they took care of that. They have ended our season the last 3 years in a row, and we're not happy about that.
Yeah, I know. We've ended a lot of people's seasons, a lot of team seasons.
Yeah. So we're doing everything we can. We're not looking past Cassville or anything. We know that, I mean, we've already lost to them once also. So we need to just one at a time. We tell them one play at a time. And it comes down to the little things, really, not the big things. It's just accumulation of mistakes here and there. But one thing I say about our guys, they do play hard. And they play fair. And, you know, I've just enjoyed the culture in Mount Vernon all the way through this, up and down through the school.
Yeah, speaking of the culture there you guys have going on, I mean, how cool is it with the volleyball team doing what they did?
Man, awesome.
First ever Final Four. How awesome is that?
It's fantastic. We, Cindy and I went to the game on Saturday to see them play and straight sets. And that team has to be really good to beat Logan Rogersville and knock them out because Rogers,
yeah,
I know,
powerhouse.
Shocked. But we tried to, we called Cassville and asked about maybe moving the game to Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they had done, I think, for when their softball team made the Final Four. But we found out yesterday that they were not able to move the game. So unfortunately, our girls play at 2 o'clock on Friday, and we'll play at 7 o'clock on Friday.
Oh, goodness.
So, and almost different time zones almost. No, not really. But
Yeah.
St. Joe's a long way.
How far of a drive is that? Is it?
It's 4, maybe 4.5, depending on where you're coming from. But
yeah.
But you know, we wish them the best. Coach Smuts, love her, and she's just done a great job. You know, you talk about staying the course. She has just been working and working and working, and they've taken this team from a bunch of freshmen and young players and just built on it. And it's cool to see how, as they mature like that they have just gelled as a team. And they've got a great combination now of seniors, juniors, sophomores, and a couple of freshmen that are contributors. And so it's great. They do a good job, and we wish him the best over there.
Yeah. I meant to ask you too, how's Preston doing?
Oh man, he's doing great.
Preston Hardyman, who we did a story, if you want to see the story on ozarksportszone.com a few years ago, Preston needed a heart transplant. Coach Cox, the doctor's giving you credit for saving his life by having him sit on the bench when he was out of breath, as opposed to, running him. Yeah. And that was a life-saving moment. It can't be overstated. I mean, I'm so glad to hear he's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing great. He really is. His brother, Xavier, still in school there, but Preston's doing good. I've seen him a couple of times this season, and it's been fun. It's just a miracle that he's still with us. And I know the Lord was looking over me and just told me to have him sit down, because we talked. He was not the type that would take it easy.
Yeah, I bet.
He was just dragging and sluggish. I'm like, Preston, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And he said, I don't know. I'm just not feeling good. I'm just super tired and sluggish. And so we got him out of his gear and got him over on the bench and just let him cool down. And he got back home, and his dad, saw his legs were swollen. Which I didn't notice. They weren't at the time that we sat him down, but and then from there they took him to the hospital, of course, and then the rest is history. But what's amazing about that, you and I both know, I mean, that was the first week of practice, the first few days of practice, and then by in January they cleared him to play all sports with a new heart.
Amazing.
They had taken,
Yeah.
The good thing for him, he was fortunate that at his age, his size, everything, he qualified for a child heart and an adult heart.
Yeah.
And so that really, I think, helped
speed
up him getting that transplant. And everything's gone well, and I'm just thankful. I have the doctor's letter that they sent that cleared him. I have it framed on my office wall.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool. I've got 2 pictures really in there. That one and a picture of 2 of my grandkids. So
yeah,
that are looking out over the football field.
It's so good.
Anyway, yeah, it kind of tears me up a little bit when I think about Preston.
Yeah.
So, But anyway, and thank you for all you did for that as well, man.
No problem. We love what we do. I love what I do, and I get to tell a story like that. It was just so incredible when we first heard about it, which, if you want to watch it, go to the Ozone website, ozarksportszone.com. Type in Preston and Vernon. You'll probably find it in the search bar. Otherwise, you can just click the Mount Vernon's high school tab, and you'll go back to 2022 when this happened.
Yeah.
It's a story of just
and how
so many things had to happen to
Yeah.
save his life. And
how cool was it that Logan Rogersville got involved and
that was cool.
Dressed up in the neon and helped raise quite a bit of money to help the Hardimans, and so it's very cool, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah. Now, I feel like we've touched on a lot of different things, Coach.
Yeah.
Is there any questions I didn't ask you that you wanted to mention? Anything you wanted to mention here? Or did we nail it all? It's okay if we did.
We nailed a lot. I've never told you about, I coached American football in Finland one summer.
Finland? Are they into it there?
Oh, man. Yeah. I was an assistant coach on the national team, and we played in Milan, Italy that year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we won the European Championship. I've got a nice gold medal, from that. And they only play it every other year. But I coached a team there in the upper division of American football, and it was an incredible experience. Once in a lifetime. We were able to travel all over Europe.
Oh, that's cool.
We played a game north of the Arctic Circle. And,
Ice Bowl style.
Yeah, it was really fun, and the people there were fantastic. And so, but and just so happened, Cindy at the time was coaching both our cheerleaders and our dance team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so Mount Vernon let me out of school 3 weeks early to go to Finland.
Yeah.
And so Cindy had to finish out the school year, and then she flew over, and then she had to fly back a couple of weeks early because they had camp and stuff. And so I stayed until the day before practice started that next season. And, she called me one day and said, "Hey, got some news for you." And so we were expecting our first child, our daughter, who now teaches at Evangel. And so that was pretty cool. So, I mean, it was just icing on the cake there for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's been
that's cool.
It's been a blessed life. I mean, to really, we've been blessed by a lot of people, a lot of things, and mainly by the Lord. So
that's good stuff. Well, Coach, faith family football, I know it's a big thing.
It is.
Obviously, whether you're in this country or any others, right?
Exactly.
And now back to Mount Vernon. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Big week in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it is, and it's an important game. I mean, it's important to the players, but it's cool to see how important it is for the fans.
Yeah.
And just the town, and it's cool when you win. To go to Walmart and people, hey, good job last night. A nice win and stuff. It's I've enjoyed going from. I grew up originally in Dallas until I was 12, and then my dad got transferred to St. Louis, and then going from one big city to another, and then coming to Mount Vernon, and wouldn't trade it for anything, wouldn't trade it. So
it's awesome.
It's good. It's good. It's been a good life, and anyway, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
KY3, and it's a place to be.
Well, yeah, it's a place to be right here. Exactly. Listen, it's I wanted to get you on. I've been wanting to get you on for several weeks here. We've been blessed to be able to have as many awesome coaches as we have, and you've been on this list. So thanks for making time during a playoff week to come in and talk to us here.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. All right, so we do a thing at the end.
Okay.
Like you watching a movie and they're like, cut, and they do the thing? Okay? Yep. That's how we end it, okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, crack. There we go. Nice, okay. Right.